Meet David Dobrik, once the golden boy of YouTube, a creator who made 4-minute and 20-second vlogs feel like blockbuster films. He wasn't just uploading funny clips with his friends, he was curating chaos into an empire. By 2019, David wasn't just a vlogger, he was the face of YouTube itself. Every upload felt like an event. Fans sprinted to watch the moment it dropped. Late-night shows invited him on. Advertisers lined up. Hollywood stars wanted cameos. Dobrik had cracked the code. Humor, likability, and a lifestyle that felt impossible, yet somehow relatable. And the numbers proved it. Millions of views per vlog, millions in sponsorships, a podcast, a disposable camera app, brand deals with SeatGeek, and eventually, a personal net worth, estimated around $15 million. For a while, it felt like David Dobrik could do no wrong. David's story begins far from Hollywood. He was born in Slovakia and moved to Chicago as a kid. Life wasn't glamorous. He grew up in a modest household, one of many immigrant families trying to make it work. He wasn't a straight-A student or a sports star. What he did have was timing, humor, and the urge to connect with people in unconventional ways. His first brush with fame came not on YouTube, but on Vine. Those looping 6-second videos that defined a generation of internet comedy. On Vine, David was magnetic. He collaborated constantly, built a following quickly, and mastered short-form chaos. And when Vine collapsed in 2016, most creators floundered, struggling to transplant their style onto longer platforms. David made a move that changed everything. He migrated to YouTube, but he didn't just try to stretch Vine bits into longer content. He created something entirely new. The formula was 420, 4 minutes and 20 seconds. That was the length of nearly every vlog he uploaded. Short enough to binge, long enough to pack in a week's worth of pranks, surprises, and celebrity cameos. It was genius. While most YouTubers stretched their content to maximize ad revenue, David did the opposite. He compressed. Every second mattered. Every cut hit like a punchline. The pace was relentless, addictive, and perfect for an audience raised on short attention spans. He wasn't just making videos. He was engineering dopamine. And he wasn't doing it alone. He built the Vlog Squad, a rotating cast of friends who became characters in his chaotic sitcom-like universe. Each one had their role. The goofy one, the dramatic one, the sidekick, the foil. Their dynamics felt spontaneous, but carefully curated through David's razor-sharp editing. He knew how to stitch together hours of random chaos into a 4-minute highlight reel that felt like lightning in a bottle. People didn't just come for him. They came for the ongoing soap opera of personalities, the inside jokes, the drama that unfolded like chapters in a story you couldn't stop watching. It was reality TV without the network, without the censors, without the waiting. Just a group of 20-somethings in Los Angeles, pulling insane stunts, fighting and making up, and somehow letting millions of strangers in on all of it for free. By 2017, David was unstoppable. His vlogs weren't just popular, they were must-watch. Millions of views poured in within hours. He was buying Teslas for his friends, handing out iPads to strangers, filling backyards with pools of foam, and even bringing exotic animals into suburban neighborhoods, just for the punchline. The giveaways weren't just acts of generosity. They were the hook, the magic trick that made fans feel like they were part of something bigger. Every vlog felt like a new headline, and soon, the sponsors caught on. His SeatGeek ads became legendary, not because they were ads, but because they blurred the line between sponsorship and spectacle. Instead of awkward product placements, he turned brand deals into unforgettable moments. Surprising friends with cars, orchestrating elaborate stunts, making a ticketing company look like the coolest brand on YouTube. Fans didn't roll their eyes at the ads. They cheered, because the sponsorship itself became part of the entertainment, part of the culture of his channel. And behind the laughter and applause, those deals funneled David millions and solidified him not just as a content creator, but as a savvy businessman who knew how to turn chaos into capital. Hollywood noticed. Suddenly, David wasn't just another YouTuber with a camera. He was sitting on late-night couches, cracking jokes with Jimmy Fallon, and being treated like a mainstream celebrity. Big-name actors and musicians wanted cameos in his vlogs, sometimes even reaching out to him first just to be part of the chaos. Traditional media executives, who once dismissed YouTubers as a fad, now pointed to David as proof that online creators could rival television stars. By 2019, Dobrik was more than a YouTuber. He was a cultural force, shaping the way a generation consumed entertainment. His podcast with Jason Nash gave fans a behind-the-scenes look at the madness, turning inside jokes into lore. His photo app, David's Disposable, rocketed to the top of the App Store, tapping into nostalgia and showing investors he had tech world potential. Merch wasn't just a side hustle. It sold out instantly, plastering his name and catchphrases across hoodies and backpacks. His face was everywhere. Billboards, magazine covers, talk shows. He wasn't just a creator anymore. He was a mogul in the making. Someone who could bridge the gap between internet fame and Hollywood recognition. To fans, David seemed perfect. He wasn't arrogant. He wasn't detached. He was still the guy next door, just with an insane life that somehow looked attainable. He hung out with celebrities like they were old college buddies, but he never lost the goofy laugh or the boy-next-door energy that made people trust him. His laugh was infectious, his editing sharp, his generosity legendary, and the lifestyle aspirational but not out of reach. Fans felt like if they just grabbed a camera, pulled a few friends together, and dared to live louder, they could be him too. David made fame look fun, effortless, and even welcoming. He wasn't just entertaining people. He was selling the dream of living life at full speed, of making every day an adventure worth filming. And for a while, it worked perfectly. He wasn't just popular, he was untouchable. But empires rarely fall all at once. The cracks start small, almost invisible at first, like hairline fractures in glass. As 2020 began, those cracks started to spread. The vlogs slowed down, losing the frantic rhythm that had once defined them. The pandemic hit, and overnight, David's entire formula, built on wild stunts, crowded houses, road trips, surprise parties, and in-person chaos, suddenly wasn't possible. The world shut down, and so did his content machine. For a while, fans were patient. They told themselves he'd be back, that the energy would return. But then, as the silence stretched, the controversies began to bubble back to the surface. Old clips resurfaced, the kind of jokes that once passed for harmless fun in a looser internet era. But under a harsher cultural lens, they looked different now, more damaging, less forgivable. Questions emerged about consent in certain bits, about whether everyone in the vlogs had really been in on the joke, or if some were pressured to play along for the camera. Allegations followed about unsafe environments behind the scenes, about the blurred line between friendship and exploitation when the pursuit of content never stopped. The funhouse image of the vlog squad, a carefree group of friends making each other laugh, began to look more like a pressure cooker, where boundaries were tested and not always respected. Former members started to speak out, peeling back the curtain on the machine that had seemed so effortless. And then came the breaking point, a Business Insider investigation that detailed disturbing claims connected to a vlog squad shoot. The article spread fast, and suddenly, the narrative shifted. David Dobrik wasn't just the funny, generous guy anymore. He was the leader of a crew accused of reckless behavior, blurred boundaries, and exploitation. The empire that had once looked invincible started to feel fragile, its foundation built less on joy and more on chaos that had gone unchecked for too long. Sponsors noticed quickly. SeatGeek, the brand most synonymous with his rise, the company that had bankrolled countless giveaways and practically become a character in his vlogs, quietly pulled away. Other partnerships followed, dissolving almost overnight. Companies that once begged to be in his videos now wanted no association with the headlines circling him. YouTube stepped in too, stripping away monetization and signaling that the platform itself was beginning to distance from its former poster boy. Even his app, David's Disposable, which had rocketed to the top of the charts just a year earlier, stalled under the weight of controversy. The empire, once built on likability and trust, began to unravel in real time. And then David made the worst mistake of all: silence. For weeks, as allegations piled up and stories spread across social media, he said nothing. The internet doesn't wait, and in that silence, critics filled the void. Commentators, journalists, and former fans shaped the narrative for him, painting him as irresponsible, careless, and complicit in the behavior his brand had enabled. The golden boy image that had fueled his empire cracked into something darker, not the generous, laughing neighbor anymore, but a leader accused of fostering a toxic environment. And when he finally broke the silence with apologies, they felt late, rehearsed, and strategic. The tone seemed calculated, the timing like PR triage rather than genuine remorse. For many, the words didn't heal. They landed flat. The timing looked like damage control, not accountability. And by then, the damage was already done. Within months, everything changed. The same internet that had once worshipped his generosity now questioned his motives. Fans unsubscribed. Brands fled. What had looked like the peak of a new kind of empire suddenly looked like the beginning of the end. By 2021, David Dobrik had all but vanished from the spotlight. The uploads slowed to a trickle. His reputation, once pristine, now felt radioactive. Podcasts and talk shows that had once begged for him now kept their distance. His empire, valued at $15 million, still existed, but it was a shadow of its former self. The financial fallout was massive. The cultural fallout is even worse. Once hailed as the future of YouTube, David was now a cautionary tale. Here's the truth. David Dobrik mastered speed, humor, and generosity. He built one of the most efficient content machines in internet history. He knew how to surprise, how to delight, how to go viral on command. But what he didn't master was accountability. Like Shane Dawson, his rise was fueled by reinvention and relatability. But when the internet demanded responsibility, silence wasn't enough. The empire cracked, not because of one controversy, but because its foundation wasn't built to last. Fame came fast. Money came faster. But without accountability, no empire, no matter how viral, can endure. Today, David still uploads occasionally. He still has a loyal core of fans who will defend him no matter what. But the glory days, the millions of views overnight, the brand deals that broke the internet, the app launches that topped charts, are gone. The empire still stands, but not as a monument. More like a ruin, a reminder of what happens when speed and spectacle outpace responsibility. And that's the real lesson. Online success isn't just about building fast, it's about building strong. Attention is fleeting, reputations linger. What looks like harmless fun today can become tomorrow's scandal. The internet doesn't forget, and it doesn't forgive easily. If you want an empire to last, it can't just be built on shock, chaos, and charm. It has to be built on trust, foresight, and accountability. So, what do you think? Was David Dobrik's downfall inevitable, or could he have saved his empire with a different approach? Let me know in the comments, and if you found this story eye-opening, hit that like button and subscribe. Every week we dive into the hidden side of rise and fall stories, the creators who looked untouchable until they weren't. Because the truth is, it's easy to celebrate success, but the real lessons are often found in the collapse. Thanks for watching, Otis, and remember, building an empire isn't the hard part. Keeping it standing is.